Alright, so today I'm going to talk about fully diminished 7th chords and their possible enharmonic reinterpretations. First of all, what is a fully diminished 7th chord? It is a diminished triad with a diminished 7 from the root to the 7th. So in this case, on the left, B, D, F, that's a diminished triad. B, D, F, A flat, that's the fully diminished 7. B to A flat is the diminished 7th interval. When you stack them all up, it's all minor thirds. Now the interesting thing about most interesting thing about fully diminished 7 chords is that unlike any other, major or minor triads with a 7th, when you start to invert them, enharmonically, the intervals are all the same. If you invert a dominant 7 chord, for instance, thirds are going to invert to 6th, and fourths are going to invert to 5ths. When everything is already a minor third, enharmonically at least, it's just still going to be minor thirds when you invert it. So for instance, right here, just going from a root position to a first inversion of this chord, moving the B up to the top, well, A flat to B is an augmented second, but it sounds like a minor third. Now here's the cool thing. With the reinterpretations, we can respell this and make it the same function chord but in another key. So for instance, if I change that B to a C flat, now I've got D, F, A flat, C flat, and that, while it sounds very much the same, is going to put us in a different key area because those accidentals are different. Let's back up a second. So B, D, F, A flat can be found in C minor if you include the leading tone and the lowered 6th scale degree. So the notes would be leading tone, supertonic, subdominant, the lower submedian or regular submedian. When we switch this, when we enharmonically spell it like this, now the D on the bottom is going to be our leading tone. So this would be in E flat. I should say this could be major or minor, but within an actual scale, of course, these would be minor. But you do often see modal borrowing, and a fully diminished 7 chord resolves to something major. Whether that's a tonic triad or if it's a secondary dominant secondary leading tone chord to a dominant chord or something. Let's say that we're in the key C minor, E flat minor, B is the leading tone, D is the leading tone. Here are the other two. When I try to respell it here, C flat to D, that's the augmented second. Well, if I spell D as E double flat, we get an F fully diminished 7th chord. I went ahead and respelled this with its enharmonic equivalence because if F is going to be the leading tone, that means we're going to go to G flat minor, which is not a very common key. But if I respell it as an E sharp fully diminished 7 chord, then E sharp is going to be the leading tone in F sharp, and that's totally fine. E sharp fully diminished 7 going to, we're going to resolve to an F sharp minor. Okay, last interpretation slash inversion. If I throw the E sharp up here, now I've got D to E sharp as an augmented second. Respell it as G sharp B D F, and now that is G sharp fully diminished, and probably either one of these two is the easiest fully diminished 7 we can look at because they're the only two that only have one accidental. This one would be in A minor. G sharp would be the leading tone in A minor, or let's just say it would go to A something. Leading tone, supertonic, subdominant, lowered submedian. Okay, then when I move the G sharp up here, basically I've kind of cycled around from this up an octave to this same chord again. Okay, so I've written out in 4 parts those same chords that I had earlier with their resolution if, let's say, if the second chord is not necessarily tonic, let's just say it resolves to that note. So here, a B fully diminished 7 chord, B, being the root, is going to resolve to a C something. Here I've got it going to C minor. Now, what are the rules with resolutions here? Well, we know that a fully diminished 7 chord is 3 stacked minor thirds, but on top of that, it's also 2 interlocking tritones. So here, B to F and D to A flat. So I went ahead and separated them to show that to you. Now we know that diminished fifths resolve inward to thirds, and augmented fourths resolve out to fifths. So these are all going to follow that. So here, each of these is a diminished fifth. So I have B and F resolve in to C and E flat. D and A flat, diminished fifth, resolves in to E flat and G. And if you do this, you're always going to end up with a double third of the chord. So here's two E flats in a C minor chord. Okay? Then this was the next chord, a respelling of this, spelling B as a C flat. So now the root of this chord is D, D, F, A flat, C flat. And that D is going to resolve to E flat tonality, or tonic. Okay, so same rules, but now that things are spelled differently, they're going to move a little differently. These two move the same, except we have a G flat, of course, in E flat minor. It could have been a G natural. I'm just making them all minor for right now. Now this, though, is spelled as an augmented fourth, and augmented fourths go out. So going out to the chord tone, F goes up to G flat, C flat goes down to B flat. Here. It's a little easier. And then these other two. So next interpretation of this, the root of this chord is the E sharp now. And I already did some behind the scenes enharmonic equivalents. E sharp is the leading tone of F sharp. So we go over to an F sharp minor chord. And then the last one, G sharp is going to be the resolution, sorry, not the resolution, the leading tone. Its resolution will be A. And in both of these, the third has also been doubled. So here are two A's in F sharp minor, here are two C's in A minor. Now, side note, and I think this is a not unimportant thing and just kind of cool. We know that it's all these tritones and minor thirds in the fully diminished 7th chord, and then even the resolutions. If you look at the roots of these four chords, they even are all minor thirds apart, which should make sense, right? You're getting a leading tone going to a tonic, all minor thirds apart. So C, E flat, F sharp, A, enharmonically at least, right? E flat and F sharp. We have to spell them differently, but in each case, it works. All right. Okay, so this here is just rearranging the direction, basically, in which I inverted things. Whereas before, I was saying, okay, let's start, do a first inversion of this chord, so put B up here, and then let's respell it. Well, here what I've done instead is like, okay, let's take the bottom note and say, well, here's the root, and then let's say here I want it to be the third. So B is the third of this chord, G sharp is the root, G sharp, B, D, F. B is now the fifth of this chord, and E sharp is the root. And D is the root of this chord, C flat will be the seventh. If I kept it as a B, that means the root would have been a C double sharp, and nobody wants to think about that really. Well, technically you do have that chord in D sharp minor, so that could have been okay. This will be the more common key of E flat minor. Well, that's up to 6 sharp or 6 flat. Okay, so next I'm going to show you these same chords in 4 voices with their resolutions. Okay, so now I have a ton of information on 2 boards. These are the chords we were working with again at first. Here, the chord on the left of each measure is enharmonically the same note. So just change it for where here the bottom note is the root, here it's the third, here's the fifth, here it's the seventh. And now I'm not using Roman numerals because there are a lot of possibilities. And even, I didn't even have to, I've said before, I didn't even have to make each one of these resolutions a minor chord. It could have been major. Basically, I'm just giving you what the roots resolve to. So a B fully diminished 7 resolves to C something. C minor in this case. G sharp resolves to A, E sharp resolves to F sharp. And again, came up earlier. This could have been an F. Whoops. Fully diminished. 4/3. resolving to a G flat tonic, or some G flat chord, not necessarily tonic, right? Because any minor chord, that could be 1, 4, 5 in minor, it could be 2, 3, 6 in major. Yeah. Okay, and then I mentioned that people would prefer, I guess, to read E flat minor than D sharp minor. I don't know, I do. But I went ahead and wrote them both out. So in E flat minor, or resolving to an E flat minor, D fully diminished, 4-2 goes to E flat minor. In D sharp minor, a C double sharp will go to D sharp. And then I'm not going to say all of these over here, but these are 8 more, where on these here, I've just moved the root up a half step, well, everything up a half step. So everything here was B on the bottom, now the bass is all C on the bottom. So we go from this sound now everything's moved up a half step. And thus the resolutions are another half step. This one here, kind of a theoretical key, right? D flat minor is a chord, not a key we regularly use. That could have been respelled as B sharp minor, or sorry, a B sharp fully diminished 7 resolving to a C sharp minor. Again, root, 3rd, 5th, 7th, all resolving to what they resolve to, and those resolution notes make, if you put all those together, so D flat, B flat, F sharp, D sharp. Oh, something's wrong there. Okay, sorry, I was looking at the root of the 7th chord, not the root of the resolution chord. So D flat, B flat, G, E. Those again make another tritone. Same, not tritone, fully diminished 7th chord, sorry. And then the bottom 4, it's the same thing as this and that, moved up another half step. So here the bottom note is B, here it's C, and here C sharp or D flat, depending on spelling. For instance, this could be A flat minor or G sharp minor. G sharp being slightly more common than A flat minor, but A flat minor is fine too. Okay, now we don't even need to go up another half step, because this is the really cool thing about fully diminished 7th chords. There are really only 3 of them. You can pick any note and start going up by half steps. So here I did B, C, C sharp. If I went up to D, well then I'm just getting back to this one, and then it's just the same chords in inversion. Yeah, that's why there's the 3, and then they just start inverting to the same thing again. Now I go up one more chord, or sorry, whoops. There we go, one more note. Now this is just the first chord inverted. Okay. Okay, in about 5 minutes, I'm going to explain common tone diminished 7th and then how you can do kind of some wacky, weird progressions with it. This is a 4-part arrangement of Tchaikovsky's Waltz of the Flowers. So. With his, I'm leaving out some voicing, but with his spelling of E flat here instead of D sharp, this is the chord I want to talk about, the common tone diminished 7th. So the name implies what it is. There's a common tone between it and something else, and it's a diminished 7th chord. So in this case, this is a fully diminished 7th chord, enharmonically at least. The common tone here is the A, so A to A here. So making a fully diminished 7th chord that includes an A somewhere. Now the way this is usually done, even though we're in D, think of A as like a tonic for a second, and then build a fully diminished 7th chord on sharp 2, so that's B sharp. So this should be B sharp, D sharp, F sharp, A. Now I left the E flat in here because that's what Tchaikovsky wrote. In the horn part it's a B flat. My theory is just that he wrote B flat for horn because they'd rather read a B flat than an A sharp. Anyway, this is a common tone diminished 7, a fully diminished 7 chord that has notes in common, a note in common with the tonic here, the A, and the A here. We'll find out in about 20 bars A is not actually tonic anyway, or well, sooner than that. Anyway, it gets to D, but the first sound we hear would lead you to think you're in A major, and then you're hearing a common tone diminished 7. You are hearing a common tone diminished 7. It's just not of the tonic key. Okay, so without writing every one of them out, and you can just think about this, I like to think about what if our common tone is, well, let's say we take the same chord, but now sort of elide into a different resolution and say A is not the common tone, or the chord is not a B sharp, maybe C, B sharp instead of B sharp, it's a C natural, and we're playing a C fully diminished 7 chord. Then we can kind of do, we can go one of two ways. We could do a weird resolution to a C major, or you could do, say, C is the leading tone and go to some kind of D flat. Well, I was a little pressed for time, and I didn't get to the cool, weird common tone diminished 7 / re-enharmonicizing fully diminished 7 chord, but it was using Tchaikovsky's Waltz of the Flowers. You can change this common tone chord, change any one of the notes to a common tone of a different chord, and you get weird resolutions. So, like, you go from A major, you can end up on C or E flat or F sharp, or this chord could become a secondary leading tone chord, any one of the 4 like we did here. And then you get even other resolutions. So you can go from A major to B flat something, or to some kind of D flat, to an E, or to, let's see, a G resolution. Yeah. Okay, thanks for watching. It's kind of long and boring, the stuff I had to explain anyway. I just think it's fun to do weird resolutions of things. Okay, thank you very much.